sex assigned at birth. 2 council members voted no. Some Spokane parents of kids diagnosed with autism are worried about RFK Jr.'s announcement of an autism registry. The Health and Human Services chief says autism is a disease that will be cured by September and suggests it was caused by environmental toxins. At Spokane's annual autism walk last weekend, parents said Kennedy's comments are just making it worse for autistic people facing stigma. And more than 20 Democratic lawmakers from 17 states have launched a group to push for no-strings-attached cash payments to lower-income people. Washington Democrats Lori Jenkins and Tweena Nobles are among the founding members of Legislators for a Guaranteed Income. Studies show these programs can actually help people work more and even save money on social services. The head of Mayors for a Guaranteed Income says they're even more important now as Trump's tariffs and gross mismanagement of the economy has made economic uncertainty even worse. In our last story, a new survey shows that people in eastern Washington are feeling more positive about the state than they were before the election. 52% said they think Washington is on the right track, while 35% disagreed. In a July survey, 31% thought we were on the right track, and 57% thought we were going in the wrong direction. For KCHW 102.7, I'm Chuck Ritchie. Good morning, everybody. It is your KCHW morning show. It is Wednesday. No, today's Thursday. Get this, May 1st.
May 1st. May, yay. And guess who? I'm in here. What am I doing in here? I'm not normally here on a Thursday.
No, you're not. We have a special show today. Scott's over there getting his cabins ready in Maine, and we have a special guest coming in today, Allison Williams. So thank you, Craig, for joining us today for that. And she's got my brain just drew a blank. Was it a new CD coming out or an event coming up this weekend? I have it. I had it.
So she's heading to Nashville after, I think for next week, and then she has a weekday performance at Bolo's.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
It's I think it's for the Inland Empire Blues Society.
Yeah.
They do events periodically.
Yeah, I knew she had an event coming up. She's going to talk about it in a little bit here when she joins us for the second half of the show. She's a phenomenal blues musician from the Spokane area. Coming up to say hi to us. She gave me her CD, and I put it in. I was getting some work done. I ended up listening to the whole thing. It's really, really good stuff. So, thank you, Allison. Boy, we're going to welcome her to the show here in just a little bit. And again, we have Craig joining us today. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the weather. Today we're looking at a high of 75 degrees. Lots of sunshine. 44 degrees overnight with clear skies. Tomorrow, 81 degrees for our high. It is going to be toasty out there. 49 overnight with sunny skies all day. We got a little bit of chance of rain coming in on Saturday at 24% with 65 for the high, 44 overnight. That chance of rain sticking around at 24% on Sunday with a high of 64 degrees. 39 degrees overnight, 72 and 42 on Monday. Then Tuesday, we have a high of 78, 47 degrees, again, mostly sunny skies. Wednesday next week, sunny skies again. That high hitting 83 degrees. You look forward ahead in the schedule. We're getting quite a few days in the 80s coming up. It
looks really nice, actually. I was just gazing over it while you were reading it off.
This is the time of year that's my favorite. You get the low 70s, low to mid 70s every day, maybe a couple of days, peaking up a little warmer. I wish it could stay like this all summer. I like the 70s.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying. Yesterday, being in the car, I'm like, well, this is the perfect temperature because it's warm, but you're not hot.
Yeah,
it's not. There's no chill in the air. It's just warm.
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah, and of course
we get it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Today I actually wore my my T-shirt. I wore a T-shirt here without a jacket on this morning, and I wasn't freezing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So speaking of T-shirts, we have a little announcement to make in a little bit. We're not going to get there quite yet. I do have a message from, of course, our weather and mountain condition report. 49 degrees North Mountain Resort. They are closing for the season. They have a message. Big thank you for the community. Let's see here. All right. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's very, very, very long. But they're very grateful to the community for all the support they've had for the year. They had a phenomenal season up there. It was great conditions all year long. They did a great job maintaining those conditions, running all the events they had up there, especially after last year. Great, great year for them up at the ski hill this year.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, everyone, for your support. Thank you, 49 Degrees North Mountain Resort, for sponsoring that weather and mountain condition report during the wintertime. That was kind of fun to check on, see those every day, and you sort of get in.
And
with
if
the
you look
excitement.
back, we went up there and did a remote.
We did
broadcast when they opened.
We did, yeah.
So.
And next season, we're probably going to try to figure out how to get a little bit better internet signal up there. You know, it's up in the mountains. It's for skiing, not for internet anyway. But the broadcast, we needed a little.
Well, I did a live stream, and what did I do? I forgot all the other, because they have a few different routers up there. So I forgot all. I made sure to forget them all, and then I just got onto one.
Yeah.
And had Justin help me, because of course he knew which one I should use, because he's up there all the time. So
well, we did okay with the lodge. It was just when I like the ski joring event, I couldn't get a signal up there, so I went up there to broadcast, and I had a great time. It was a fun event. But I just couldn't do any broadcasting. But still very thankful for them inviting me and having a great time that day. There were a ton of people up there.
Yeah, that was like a stress test, I think, to
right?
figure out exactly how many people they could fit up in there.
Yeah, I think they found out.
Yeah, yeah, I had cars like out on the highway.
Well, so before we get to that fun announcement that we have, let's go ahead and go to the lunch menus, see what they're having for.
Okay, so I got a
food.
breakfast menu here. If you want to do lunch, I can't seem to find it in the tabs, but we have 3 or 4 options. It looks like you have omelet and hash browns, fruit or juice, variety cereal, cheese stick or yogurt, fruit or juice, bread or muffin. Wait a second, I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm so used to looking at Friday. So let's go back. Let's start over again. So Thursday there is 4 options. We go out French toast sticks with syrup, fruit or juice, fruit breakfast parfait with granola, fruit or juice, variety cereal, cheese stick or yogurt, fruit or juice, bread or muffin, cheese stick or yogurt, fruit or juice. Those are your breakfast options at the grade school or at the Chewelah School District.
Yeah. So we have for lunch today, May 1st. It's weird to look at the beginning of the calendar. I'm used to having to scroll down. All right, so today for lunch, we have sub sandwich with chips and a fruit and veggie choice. So before we get into when do you want to announce this? Do you want to do it before or after our events?
Let's do it after.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
That's fine.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into some local events here. Let's see. Let me get in the calendar. And, of course, new calendar for the community, Chewelah.events. This was a calendar put together between the Creative District, the Chewelah Chamber of Commerce. There's a bunch of people that have partnered on it. We've given a lot of feedback on it from the radio station. The Independent is going to be joined already, and will be publishing information from this calendar in the newspaper. The Chewelah Center for the Arts, the Lions Club, the Arts Guild, of course, the Chamber of Commerce. More and more organizations are partnering with it every day. This will be a singular central point for the community calendar, and it's filling up fast.
So how do you find that community calendar? Where do you go to?
You can go online and go to Chewelah.events. And this calendar, anybody can submit to the calendar. There is a little review process. An admin has to review it. If you want somebody in your organization to be able to post without needing review, you just go ahead and get a hold of somebody either at the chamber or the creative district. They'll connect you with somebody that will get somebody with your organization designated as an admin, so your organization can post to the calendar without needing an admin review. So you'll have somebody from your organization that will be whitelisted to just go ahead and post on there.
Awesome.
So yeah, and it's good stuff. For many, many years, there's been, what's we all laugh about the cry in Chewelah. Nobody told me about that, So now, no excuses. We have a singular central community calendar. It's with everything on it, and it's not even just Chewelah. It's everything that affects Chewelah. Things will be of interest to Chewelah. We've got a couple submissions from other theater groups outside of Chewelah, some stuff in Deer Park. So
excellent.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It looks really nice. It's easy to use, and it is one place for everything.
Yeah.
Which is really neat. All right. So speaking of that, today we have the Senior Citizens Potluck and Games. That is going to be at the Valley Fire Department building. Every First and third Thursday of the month, senior citizens from Chewelah Valley and Springdale are invited to join them on the first and third Thursday for games and a potluck. And that's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Valley Fire Department in Valley. The Chewelah Food Bank is open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And of course, tonight is the first Thursday Art Walk. Yeah, we've got a lot of great stuff planned for that one. Let me see if I can get up
Well, and
here.
the weather's getting nice, so I'm expecting more people out and about. Because we've been doing the art walks through winter, and of course, people are hiding inside and getting through the cabin fever months. But now, hey, it's time to get out. The weather's going to be nice, and let's enjoy a night out in Chewelah.
Yeah, it is going to be gorgeous. 75 degrees and sunny during the art walk today.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't ask for better than that.
I know.
Great stuff. So we have for the art walk today, the Women Painters of Washington are going to be at the Trails and Gallery. We had them on the show. We did a special show with them last night about the arts. So the Women Painters of Washington is a coalition of about 200 women in Washington State. They've been around, I think, a little over 100 years, around 100 years, with this coalition of women. They do shows around. They're all over the state. You know, they kind of have regional groups that meet. They do shows together, and it's a pretty amazing, rich history behind the Women Painters of Washington. It is an organization for professional artists. Really cool stuff. Go tonight. You can check it out. You can ask them more questions about the organization. There's a lot of really great stuff out there about it. A lot of artists. I think Tim said there's 12 artists from the Women Painters of Washington featured there this month.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Margot Setti, she's going to be at the Yale Press. Nancy Bloom and Kim Thomas are going to be at the Spotlight Gallery at the Aaron Huff Memorial Center with the Creative District and the Arts Guild partnering up on that one. And we also have a musical guest for that one, Lefty. He's going to be outside doing some busking.
Yep, Lefty Fields.
Lefty Fields. Like, I couldn't remember Lefty's last name. I was just like, he just goes by Lefty. So.
Well, Lefty's his nickname. He's a left-handed slide player, so he has to play a special slide guitar that's backwards, according to right-handed people. And he's a great solo act. He's actually a busker. He used to busk in New Orleans. So New Orleans, New Orleans,
right?
Nolans. How do you say? I don't know.
Nolans.
Yeah,
but he's got that twang. That I don't know how to describe it. I don't know the proper terminology for it. But he sort of ends his
roots
notes.
Music.
Yeah. But he's how do you say it? Like his notes end in like sort of an upward, like a lift. That he combines with that twang that's just beautiful. It sort of gives you shivers, And there's more music happening at Fired Up Pizza. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so Matthew Tippich is going to be opening for Craig and the Brats at Fired Up Pizza starting at 5:30. So get down there and check out Matthew. He's actually going to be our guest tomorrow on the radio show. So if you don't get a chance to check him out, you should listen in tomorrow, and he'll be performing at about 8:15.
Yeah,
or so, depending on how long the interview is and whatnot. So really excited about bringing him in to our community.
And he's doing some amazing stuff
he's got some videos on YouTube that have tons of views. I mean, absolute ton. So yeah, he's a multi-instrumentalist performer, still very young. I think he's 19, if I'm right. So he's just out of high school basically, and he's back home for a little while with his parents and helping around the property. Yeah, but also getting out and playing music. So if you're interested in booking him, just got to contact his mom. His mom's a real estate agent up in the Colville area. So
nice,
Sabrina Tippich. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one because we've been talking about him for a while.
Yeah.
He's been kind of making waves.
Funny little story. My friend, my old roommate, Patrick Gibson, whose family grew up around here, but he grew up in Wyoming. His family's from here. His mom and dad are both from Chewelah, but he grew up in Wyoming, and he moved back to a place called Story, which is, I don't know exactly what the bigger, Sheridan. I think it's just out of Sheridan. But he was working at a place called the, it's not the Wagon Box or something.
And this is.
But anyway, he ended up running into Matthew performing, and then got him a job at the place that he was working at. So he actually introduced me to Matthew before you talked about him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I was introduced to his music from my roommate in Wyoming, not from here.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, I met a musician from Colville. You should really check him out.
That's cool. I've been in Story, Wyoming.
Yeah, so you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't. I remember that I've been there because you don't visit a place named Story without remembering going there. But yeah,
I think the place is called the Wagon Box. It's like
okay,
a inn, or like a, it has a bar and like a place for people to stay. It's
yeah.
kind of like, I don't know what they call that. Like
I
kind of
remember.
like an inn or a motel or something like that, or like a themed motel.
Yeah, I remember. I remember passing through there and going into a diner. Sort of a little dive diner that had really good food. But outside of that, I don't really remember much. That was a long time ago on the road. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We also have, it's not on the poster, kind of a late addition at the Quartzsite Brewery. We have our very own Monday night DJ, Blake Weirs, with his first art showing. Yeah, he's got a selection of I think it's chalk or charcoal paints on various mediums that are going to be up around Quartzsite. So that'll be a fun one.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what do we have going on the next day here? The Chula Chamber of Commerce meeting is at the casino from 7 to 8 a.m. Oh, we missed Craigmire Karaoke the night before.
Oh, is it on there? I didn't even see it on here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's down further. Yeah.
Yes, you guys are going to be at the Oasis
Yep,
at
Oasis
8:30?
on Thursday night, yeah.
Nice. And are you doing that Thursday and Saturdays, right? At the Oasis?
Yeah, Jade actually, we say DJ is her handle, or
Yeah.
basically for DJing, and yeah, she's usually the one who takes care of that. So that's JD Ann Briggs.
Cool. So DJ JD, right?
Yeah, or just DJ.
DJ.
Yeah, just DJ.
I like it. All right.
Yeah, she's really good. She enjoys it a lot. So I try to make it down there and sing some songs, get the party going. So
Nice. One of these days.
One
I
of
swear.
these days.
I'm going to make it out there. I promise.
I'll talk him into making an old fashioned for you. How's that?
Right. I'll do my signature karaoke song, "Loser." Yeah.
It's better than Creep.
Right. I can't do that one. That was a hard song to sing.
It takes a lot.
Yeah. It's a beautiful song though. All right. So Friday morning we have again the Chula Chamber of Commerce meeting happening at the casino from 7 to 8 a.m. Adult pickleball is at the golf course back again for the summer, starting at 9. Or no, we got new word. They're starting at 8:30 a.m. So that's
trying to beat the heat.
Yep. So that's 8:30 to 11 up at the golf course at 243 Park Place. Pickleball back up there for the summer, outdoors again. A day like today, I would not want to do it indoors. It's gorgeous out there. All right, then we have, again, I talked about this a little bit. We have the Ponderay Players Association.
I see that.
Yeah, they are putting on a presentation of The Wizard of Oz. Opening night is tonight. Those showtimes are, tomorrow night rather, sorry.
Yep, May 2nd.
Opening night is tomorrow night at 7 p.m., Saturday at 7 p.m. Then on Sunday, they have a 3 p.m. matinee. And then the next weekend, the 9th and 10th, also 7 p.m. with a Sunday matinee at 3 p.m. The Ponderay Players Association is a nonprofit community theater organization dedicated to providing family-oriented performances and arts education. And this is in Newport. So this is at 236 South Union Street in Newport. So that's a cool one. And I'm friends with, I believe, with Terry, who is playing the witch in The Wizard of Oz. And a lot of people around here might know her. She worked at the Spoko gas station for a while.
Oh, okay.
And wonderful, wonderful, talented woman. She's also going to be auditioning for Chihuahua's Got Talent.
Very good. Yeah. Okay, great. So this place is in Newport, I'm saying.
Yeah. And then speaking of Chihuahua's Got Talent, on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the time is here. It is time for Chihuahua's Got Talent auditions. They run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sign up online at, you can find those sign-up forms on KCHW.org, our KCHW radio Facebook page. We have sign-up forms on the front door of the radio station. You can come by, fill those out, slip it in the black box to the right of the front door. Or if you want to, you can also email station manager at kchw.org if you can't get here and can't figure out how to find those online. So there's posters around town as well with a QR code. You can scan that QR code. There's a QR code on the left. You can scan to sign up. QR code on the right gets you to where you can get your tickets or become a sponsor of the event. And time is running out to be a sponsor for the event because we got to get those logos on the posters. So we need to it's probably in the next day or two, so we can get your logos up and get those posters out in a timely manner.
So our guest is having a little trouble finding the place. Is it
Okay.
okay if I just give
Yeah.
her a call
Yeah,
real
go for it.
fast? I'm
Go
going
for
to
it.
step out for a second.
Craig's gonna step out. I think he's just got to go to the bathroom or something. He's telling me stories. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move along here. I know we have a few other things happening this weekend. The Spring Trail Work Party that is with the things are just not opening here. All right, so the Spring Trail Work Party with the Chewila Valley Land Trust that is happening at 9 a.m. at the Gold Hill Community Forest. They ask that you bring water, snacks, and gloves. And, of course, the community yard sale that happens every year on the first Saturday of May from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I know there's quite a few families and households signed up. There's probably a bunch out there that didn't manage to make it onto there. It's going to be a big one this year, over 40 sales. It's going to be a full day of bargain hunting fun on Saturday, May 3rd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. For information, you can get yourself a copy of the Chewila Independent, or you can visit ChewilaYardSale.com. All right, as we move on, of course, Chewila's Got Talent auditions. Don't forget about that. Then on Sunday, the Fired Up Pizza Blues and Brews Jam, hosted by the Dinosaurs, happening at Fired Up Pizza from 4 to 7 p.m., where you're invited to bring your acts and join the jam. All right, so let's go ahead and move along here. Next week on Monday, auditions for Shakespeare's The Tempest are happening. That is going to be taking place in the green area behind the theater, the same as it did last year. Turned out to be a really gorgeous area for a performance. Really great. It was. If you didn't make it last year, it was a phenomenal performance. Let me open up this and get some more information here. All right. So those auditions for The Tempest, for Shakespeare's The Tempest, are going to be the 5th and 6th at 6 p.m., then again on the 10th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. They need people of all ages to play the roles. It says here, the play is being edited to take place during our current era. Instead of taking place in Milan, Italy, the play is being set off the coast of Seattle. The play is full of the great things about Shakespeare, true love, bitter feuds, magic, and forgiveness. You don't have to have anything prepared. Lines will be available for you to read. You don't need previous acting experience either to experience the audition. And I know they're really hoping to have a great turnout for these auditions, a great cast. So it's going to be a good one. All right. Story time on Monday is going to be at the Chewila Library from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Of course, we have pickleball back up at the golf course on Monday from 8:30 to 11:30. All right. Then on, Tuesday morning, we have the coffee social at the Senior Center at 302 East Main Avenue. Again, the auditions for Shakespeare. Sorry. I'm trying to go along here. Kind of waiting for Craig to come back in. There he is. Oh, I see the door open. All right. So as we move along here, let's go ahead and keep going on this. We have, pardon me, I am flailing on the air. All right, so then on Wednesday, the Chamber of Commerce newsletter items are due by noon. Adult pickleball is back up at the golf course from 8:30 to 11 p.m. Let's see here. And then we have the Chewila Valley Lions Club meeting on Wednesday. This is happening at 5:30 at the American Legion. Community Bingo Night is at Fired Up Pizza next Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then, of course, you don't want to miss the excitement of the Chewila City Council meeting. That happens at 6:30 in the Chewila Municipal Building. We do have a couple of submissions from some other local organizations looking for vendors. Let's see, as this opens up here, it's opening. Still opening. If anybody out there has any computers they'd like to donate to KCHW, we'd be more than likely to have them. All right, so we have the Town and Country Days in Kettle Falls. That is The event is happening June 6th and 7th. They're looking for vendors. That fee for a booth space is $50 for the 2-day event. You can submit your or find out more about applying by emailing chairman@tcdays.org or calling 509-868-6575. And that is for the Town and Country Days in Kettle Falls. Then we have the Deer Park Eagles. They're seeking vendors for their upcoming outdoor market and craft fair summer series. The first market will be held on May 17th. The subsequent events occurring the third Saturday of each month throughout August. Vendor fees start at $25 for members, $35 for non-members for that 10x10 space, with discounts if you sign up for all 4 events. If you're interested, you can get more information by emailing pr.deerparkeagles@gmail.com, or you can text one of their coordinators at 509-951-6763. And of course, the Chewelah Festivals is looking for vendors for Summerfest. This is happening July 12th right here in Chewelah. You can find out more information about that by contacting the Chamber of Commerce, or you can go to the Chewelah Festivals Facebook page, send a message, contact myself, contact Melissa Allardy. She's around town. Find out more information about that. There's lots of folks around here involved. It's going to be a great event, but we need vendors.
Yeah, definitely need vendors. Yeah.
The more vendors, the better. All right. So did you get her all situated, Craig?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Yeah, she took a little tour of Chewelah. You know, she got a feel for it.
Oh, good. It doesn't take too long.
No. Eventually you'll find us. Yeah.
Yeah, all roads lead to the radio station. And you missed it. I totally flailed and bombed on the air. I just forgot what I was doing right in the middle of talking.
Oh,
it was
you
great.
did? Really?
Yeah, no, it was okay. It was my fault.
Did you get through the calendar?
I did,
did?
and then some. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. Good
Awesome.
stuff.
Way to go. So do we have a big announcement that we wanted to announce?
We do. I think that's why, because I kept having that going through my head. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
Craig, you set this up. You got this all organized. So why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Okay, so I'm a big fan of the Red Elvises. So Igor and the Red Elvises are a band that I've been following since my teens. I actually I saw them on a PBS broadcast of them performing live on Venice Beach. And it was just a really cool thing to first I was turned on to them at a young age, but then I was able to catch them when I was in college in Bellingham. And since then, I've just kind of kept an eye on their tour schedule. And whenever they're coming through the area, I try to get them booked in town. So what I was able to do is I was actually able to get them booked on a Sunday, which is June 29th at the Big Dipper in Spokane. But then on top of that, I knew they had a couple extra days. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we got them to come up to Chewelah to do a performance? So with my help, with Chuck's help, we were able to lock down the Chewelah Center for the Arts for the Monday. So on June 30th, the Red Elvises are going to be performing here in Chewelah at the Chewelah Performing Arts Center. So
that is incredible. I'm so excited about this. So
I think your mic's off.
My mic was off. How long has my mic been off?
It wasn't off just a minute ago.
Okay. I choked on my coffee and had to cough for a little bit and blow my nose. So
yeah.
I turned this up. Yeah, that is incredible. I'm really, really excited about this one. You first told me about them. Gosh, it's been a while now. Probably, maybe not quite a year ago, but for a while.
Yeah, after I'm friends with people for a while, then I start telling them about my obsession with Igor and the Red Elvises.
Right. And I've been a big fan for 25 plus years of Gogo Bordello. If you're not familiar with Gogo Bordello, they're sort of a Ukrainian sort of folkish punk rock band. Very similar sound, and I gotta say, I'm sorry, Gogo Bordello, but I was kind of doing like a comparison the other day, back and forth. I think as far as like technical proficiency and musicality, I gotta give it to Igor and the Red Elvises. Yeah, they're just a phenomenal band. They do sort of a mix of reggae, ska, punk, rockabilly, with that sort of Ukrainian folk background.
Well, and I say Igor because he corrected me, because I'd always call him Igor.
Yeah,
and when I did, he's like, no, not Igor, Igor. I'm like, okay, Igor, I get it.
Like Marty Feldman, it's Igor.
It's Igor.
It's Igor.
Yeah, but he always comes in with some some hired guns musicians. Like when I first watched him play, it was like he had his Ukrainian comrades, as they would call each other, that would play together. But now he's just got some great musicians that play with him always. I mean, he's got some ladies and they all dress to the hilt. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's just awesome show. And they're a dance band, and
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. It's all about dancing and having a good time. So.
I even showed it to my teenagers, and they didn't ask me to stop the song halfway through. They were like, "Wow, this is really great," and they were watching the videos, and they were like, "Can I go? Because this looks like a lot of fun."
Mm-hmm.
And looking at, I kind of did a deep dive into some of their history. They were formed about 1995 is when the band first formed,
Mm-hmm.
and they've toured around the world for 30 years. They have a worldwide following. They're huge in other countries. They go back to Russia almost every year and perform.
And their music's been featured in films. It's all cult level stuff, but it's very cool because they've just been doing it relentlessly.
Oh yeah, and I kind of saw
Yeah.
some. They were featured in an episode of Melrose Place back in the day. I'm really, really excited about this. This is going to be a phenomenal show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, doing a deep dive into their history, just a band with a deep, rich history. Igor, I believe he was raised in Ukraine and went
Mhm.
back and forth between Russia and Ukraine. Went to college in Russia. So everything happening right now for him, I've seen some interviews. Kind of a
And
really
Oleg, I
sensitive.
don't know if
Yeah.
he's touring with them right now, but he's the one who usually plays bass, and he plays the big, triangle bass. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of it. It's Baklia.
Baklia.
I think that's up, but they have little ones, and then they have
Right.
big ones, kind of like our violins and basses, right?
And then
but it's
and then
three
there's
string.
his, which is massively oversized.
Yeah,
It is
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. But Oleg, something about him, he either was going to get institutionalized or he had to play music and move to the United States or something. He's like, I literally swam my way out of the country, like to get out of there. It's just
Wow.
like, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
No. Yeah. Thank you, Craig, for setting that up because this is gonna be a fun show. I don't know if Chuila's gonna know what's gonna hit it with this show, but
There might be some, interesting folks in to see them. I have a feeling because
Yeah.
when we had them in Spokane, I remember there was like a group of guys that showed up and they were all in like military garb, like they
Mhm.
were all like Russian military looking guys. Like I don't know where they were from.
Like-
They
like-
didn't speak English,
like
so
like actual military, or they were dressed up in costumes.
I think they're just dressed up in costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's like that's kind of what people do is they dress up kind of in their like you saw the picture of me with them. Like I had a whole group of like 8 of us that all went down there and we were all dressed up and like everybody was like, who are these people? Like, well, I mean, like that's what you do. I mean, it was like in Coeur d'Alene live after 5 and there were so many people there. It was just awesome. So yeah.
That is awesome. I'm gonna have to go shopping for a new suit for this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that you need. So that is a balalaika?
Yeah.
Balalaika. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that.
It's a 3-string bass.
Yeah.
Is the bass, and I don't know if it's the 3-string on the higher instruments, but
You know what it kind of reminds me of, and I know this is silly. Remember in the Smurfs back in the 80s, there was the guy that played the human that walked around playing the instruments. What was that? Was that one of those that he played, or was it something else?
it might have been, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember he always walked around playing his instrument with his that
Mhm.
was it was like a triangle shape. Yeah.
Well, and it's a traditional Ukrainian and Russian folk instrument,
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can find a pronunciation for it really quick, but that's okay. All right, so it is 8:00. We have a musician. Is she out there waiting for us?
She's actually right behind you.
Oh my goodness! Hi, Allison. I didn't even. You're so quiet. She snuck up on me. So anyway, yeah. So that's gonna be June 30th at the Performing Arts Center. We're gonna get tickets up for sale for that very, very soon.
Yep.
Get our posters out. This is gonna be an experience to remember. So I feel like this is one of those shows that you're gonna go there and you're gonna remember this, and you're gonna be with your kids, or you're a kid now and you're gonna be with your kids later.
Mhm.
And you're gonna be like, you're gonna see them on a late night TV show, or you're gonna talk about them like, oh my gosh, this one time in Chihuahua, I saw the coolest, funnest band, the
Mhm.
Red Elvises. I go
Yeah.
in the Red Elvises, and it's gonna be a show you're not gonna forget.
Well, and I mean, for me, it's like full circle because it's like I literally was in my home when I was growing up,
Mhm.
15. So it must have been about 95, like when they first started. And it was a live, or I don't know if it was a live broadcast, but it was a recorded broadcast of them performing a live show on Santa Monica. And it was just a riot, you know?
Mhm.
They were playing like surf rock, but it was Russian folk and surf rock, which I thought was really interesting, and it just hooked me right out of the gate. And to actually have them now coming to my hometown is just, I mean, it's just awesome.
That really is. That really is. Yeah. Go a Google
A deep
search on
dive.
them, a deep
Yeah.
dive,
Yeah.
a YouTube, watch some of their videos. Really.
Oh yeah, and the
Really fun
movie
stuff.
that they were featured in was called the Six String Samurai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so their music's in that. If you've ever watched that movie.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking at some of their videography right now. They're in a film called Pitch. They performed on Penn and Teller's Sin City Spectacular. They've been on VH1 Behind the Music.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the Six String Samurai, Melrose Place, the film Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt, Project Valkyrie, Mail Order Bride. Yeah, really accomplished, phenomenal, fun musicians. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and take our break. We have,
Yep.
unless you have something else you want to get to before the break.
No,
Yeah.
I think we got it.
Yeah, we've got Allison Williams with us, a very, very lovely, talented young lady. She's going to be joining us in a minute after we take our break, listen to some news, thank our sponsors, and come right back. You're listening to KCHW 102.7, Northern Lights Public Radio.
The Public News Service Stowe Newscast, May the 1st, 2025. I'm Mike Clifford. President Donald Trump lashed out at an ABC journalist in a tense TV interview to mark 100 days of his second term in office, in which, among other confrontations, he angrily pushed correspondent Terry Moran to agree with him that a doctored photo was actually real, telling him, "Why don't you just say yes?" That from The Guardian. They report when Moran pointed out that the Supreme Court had ordered Garcia's return to the U.S. and suggested Trump had the power to comply. Trump said, "I could." That contradicted weeks of his administration's insistence that he could not. He added, "I'm not the one making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this." Next to Massachusetts, a state that meets most quality benchmark standards for early childhood education. That's according to a new report.
The National Institute for Early Education Research finds the state tops the national average for learning and development standards, class size, and teacher-to-student ratios. But Senior Director Steve Barnett says proposed cuts to federal Head Start programs serving more than 10,000 Massachusetts children will impact classrooms statewide.
These federal funding sources, if you pull them out, you're pulling the rug out from under many of the state early childhood systems.
He says there's no precedent for the state funding increase required to replace Head Start. The Massachusetts Head Start Association says the loss would put more than 10,000 people out of work, including Head Start employees and parents without child care. I'm Catherine Carley.
And the Florida tomato industry is stepping up into uncharted territory following the termination of a decades-old trade agreement with Mexico, marking what growers hope will be a turning point in their fight for fair competition.
The U.S. Department of Commerce's decision to end the 2019 tomato suspension agreement has been met with optimism from domestic producers, but the path forward remains uncertain as the market adjusts to the new trade realities. Robert Gunther, who leads the Florida Tomato Exchange, frames the move as a necessary reset for protection from unfair competition.
This decision has been affirmed multiple times now by the U.S. government in multiple administrations during the time period of this agreement that dumping has occurred and thus thus there need to be penalties applied to the Mexican industry to ensure that the American tomato farmers can have a just and fair playing field.
If it stays the course, on July 14th, most Mexican tomatoes will face a 20.91% tariff after U.S. growers lost half their market share since 1994, with imports surging 400% under the agreement. Mexico plans to renegotiate while maintaining anti-dumping tariffs on pork and chicken, replicating its tomato deal strategy. I'm Tremel Gomes.
This is Public News Service. The number of Kentucky kids enrolled in preschool increased in 2024, along with state spending per child. That's according to new data from the National Institute for Early Education Research.
The Commonwealth spent around $6,500 per child during the last academic year, an increase of more than $800 from the prior year. A study co-author and senior director at the Institute, Steve Barnett, says it's unrealistic to think states could replace cuts to Head Start funding amid the Trump administration's proposed freezes of federal grant funding.
Particularly replace it overnight if the program is suddenly defunded. States are going to have to step up and figure out what to do if that happens.
He adds if Head Start funding is eliminated, access to public preschool will decline in several states by more than 10 percentage points, and in some by 20. Nadia Ramlagan reporting.
And mental health counselors are focused on Nebraska's high rate of binge drinking. That during Alcohol Awareness Month, which just wrapped up.
Nebraska's binge drinking rate is among the highest in the nation, and the number of alcohol-related deaths is on the rise. Alcohol was blamed for at least 720 fatalities in 2020, the latest year data were available. Aileen Brady, CEO of Omaha-based Community Alliance, says alcohol abuse and addiction affects families and friendships, but can also lead to safety issues among employees who may be alcohol dependent.
If their reactions are not as sharp, if they're not sleeping well, and if they're distracted with the sense of needing to have that drink, it's going to affect our workplaces as well.
Brady adds alcohol and other substance abuse disorders affect at least 65% of Nebraskans seeking mental health treatment at Community Alliance. Nationwide, the National Survey on Drug Use and Health says more than 224 million people 12 and older report having consumed alcohol during their lifetime. I'm Mark Moran.
Finally, the unmistakable smell of hamburgers or steak on the outdoor grill will soon be making its way to your neighborhood. With the weather warming up, people are reminded to avoid using harmful products to keep those grills clean.
Environmental experts say using chemical sprays to get rid of that grease and grime can create harmful emissions when that grill is fired up again by releasing harmful gases into the air. John O'Brien of Green Main's Cleaning suggests a different approach involving baking soda and vinegar. To get started, he says remove food debris using a brush that doesn't contain microplastics. Then get together a healthy mix in a spray bottle.
Do equal parts white vinegar, equal parts water, and just kind of spray it down and let it soak.
Lastly, sprinkle on some baking soda to make the scrubbing part easier. Not only does this protect natural resources, health officials say it also prevents chemicals from getting into the food you prepare. I'm Mike Moen.
This is Mike Clifford for Public News Service, member and listener supported. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Broadcasting from beautiful Chewelah, Washington, this is Northern Lights Public Radio, KCHW 102.7.
It's 8:10.
Your KCHW morning show is made possible by donations from
Colville Toyota. Colville Toyota, located at 160 West 3rd Avenue in Colville, offers new and used vehicle sales and service. Vehicle sales is open 8:30 a.m. till 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, with a Toyota Express Maintenance Center open 7:30 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. More information on Colville Toyota's vehicle inventory and services is available at colvilletoyota.com. A small-town dealership with a big heart.
and by Chewelah Flooring.
Chewelah Flooring at 214 East Clay in the 3rd Street Mall offers a wide variety of products including carpet, ceramic and porcelain tile, vinyl and laminate planks, and vinyl sheet flooring. Chewelah Flooring carries products for both commercial businesses and residential homes, including brands like National Flooring, Dell Tile, Mannington, and Mohawk. They also offer blind repair. For more information, you can visit online at CheWelahFlooring.com, call 509-935-8021, or via email at CheWelahFlooring@gmail.com.
This is KCHW 102.7.
KCHW headlines. I'm Chuck Ritchie. Spokane City Council has approved a law that mirrors Washington's LGBT plus protections. The ordinance adds an anti-discrimination language to city code, prevents city resources from being used to investigate someone for seeking gender-affirming care, and protects against releasing information about a person's sex assigned at birth. 2 council members voted no. Some Spokane parents of kids diagnosed with autism are worried about RFK Jr.'s announcement of an autism registry. The Health and Human Services chief says autism is a disease that will be cured by September and suggests it was caused by environmental toxins. At Spokane's annual autism walk last weekend, parents said Kennedy's comments are just making it worse for autistic people facing stigma. And more than 20 Democratic lawmakers from 17 states have launched a group to push for no-strings-attached cash payments to lower-income people. Washington Democrats Lori Jenkins and Tweena Nobles are among the founding members of Legislators for a Guaranteed Income. Studies show these programs can actually help people work more and even save money on social services. The head of Mayors for a Guaranteed Income says they're even more important now as Trump's tariffs and gross mismanagement of the economy has made economic uncertainty even worse. In our last story, a new survey shows that people in eastern Washington are feeling more positive about the state than they were before the election. 52% said they think Washington is on the right track, while 35% disagreed. In a July survey, 31% thought we were on the right track, and 57% thought we were going in the wrong direction. For KCHW 102.7, I'm Chuck Ritchie. Sorry about that. I was reaching and grabbing something off the floor there. Good morning. Welcome back to the KCHW Morning Show. We are back again with myself, Craig McQuain, and we have with us our very special guest, Allison Williams. Good morning, Allison. Good morning. Now, I apologize. Do you go by the full name? Do you go by Allison Joy Williams or Allison Williams?
Well, when I'm just hanging out, it's just Allison.
Okay.
But Allison Joy Williams, people want to find me.
There we go.
They can't forget the joy. Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I had your mic turned down. I turned up the wrong mic.
That's okay.
So yes, I asked. You said you for us. You just
Professionally,
Allison.
I go by Allison Joy Williams. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Welcome.
There's a long story behind that too.
Really?
There always is.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it your? Can I ask? Is it your real middle name or is it?
No, that's my whole.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my real whole name. It's just way back when I very first started getting into this. I was working with a guy out of Austin, and this was back in like 2005. We were starting to record, and he called me one day, and I was actually living in Hawaii and going back and forth to Austin, and he said, "Do you have any other name you want to go by?" And I went, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, because back east there's apparently some not radio, but news journalist out of Virginia or something like that by the name of Allison Williams that had this whole, videotapes that got released."
Oh,
yeah.
one of those.
And he goes, "So if you Google Allison Williams, that's what comes up."
Wow.
And I said, "What does she look like?" And he said, I said, "I don't know. We could go by my maiden name." I said, "But, and he goes, "What's your middle name?" And I said, "Joy." And he goes, "Allison Joy Williams." "Yeah, that'll work." And I went, "Okay, so that's my professional name."
Yeah.
That's
It's got
how
a flow
went.
to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What? And there's also another famous actress by the name of Allison Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Wasn't she in the Get Out movie? A couple other things, anyway. But yeah, I was telling somebody that we've got Allison Williams coming on the show, and they're like, "No, Get Out, the actress," and I'm like, "No, no, the singer." So yes, welcome to the show. So tell us a little bit about your what you got going on.
Just released a new CD. We moved here. Finally, my husband did 29 years with the Navy and then did 10 years with the Department of Defense. So I was always finding new places to create my music and everything. And we moved back to when we moved back to the States, we ended up in northern Idaho because that's where our kids were.
Right.
Were is the operative word. But we planted our flag here, and about a year after we got here, well, actually 2 years, I put together a band and started getting out and playing again. I'd been performing and touring over in Europe while we were over there, had a band and stuff and played all over there, and actually ended up doing some shows on the northern end of the African continent and stuff, but came back here and said it's time to go back to work. Actually, it was my husband who looked at me because he retired, and I was kind of sitting there going, and he went, "You need to go find some music somewhere." So I don't think he expected me to do what I ended up doing, I think he, but yeah, now he's my roadie and my merch guy, and all of that entails. So
well, for everybody out there's sake, I'm glad you did that because phenomenal stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's actually the I don't know that I'm big enough to say fans, but it's actually the people that have come out and seen my live shows and everything. With a lot of the songs I was doing, I hadn't recorded. I mean, I've had several other albums that I've done, but it was newer stuff that I got my band to start playing, and people would come up to my husband during the show or after the show and go, "Where can we find this song?" And he's kind of going, "At the next show," because it's not recorded anywhere.
Yeah.
And so finally at the it was kind of after the Blues Challenge and winning the semifinals here and everything. We really started talking about me going back into the studio. And it's been years, but and recording the new album, getting some of the songs down, and getting some of the songs that I had written years ago that I loved. And Mayday was kind of funny because that was totally this, when I recorded it as a demo to pitch, very much this almost 80s Fleetwood Mac style to it.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting picked up by Gina Hughes with the Galaxy Agency this last September. I knew her from Nashville, never imagined that they would be willing to work with me, but I called to talk to her just about pulling the album together, and she went, "No, it's time. It's time for you to get busy and do what you should have been doing a long time ago." So we started working together, and I wouldn't say it was an accident, but I was sending her a bunch of songs to start going through to find for the album. And she came back and she said, "This song, you need to do this song." And I said, "It's totally, 80s rock. It's not." And she goes, "Find a way to make it blues." And I went,
"Wow.
Okay, if we pull the strings off of it, use B3 instead, we totally retract the lead guitar." I was lucky enough, Mike Durham, who's played with the Dave Matthews Band and stuff, did all the guitar work on it and everything. Have some fabulous players on the whole album. Bart Walker played a lot on this album, probably 10 of the 12 songs. He was the lead guitarist, and he's an Alfred King Blues Award winner, guitar playing award winner. And so, yeah, I kind of I got offers by a couple of other producers to do the album, but I kind of went back to Pat Lassiter, who I've worked in his studio for a lot of years, and I'm comfortable there.
Right.
And he's not this big known, especially not a big known blues producer, but it's where my home is.
Yeah.
So I was able to go in there and feel really comfortable, have the musicians that I'm used to working with and everything. So it was great. And Goose Gossett, he was kind of shaking his head. He goes, "This is the first album you've done in a long time that I don't have a co-write on." And I went, "I know, but I need you in the studio with me." Because he was part of a trio called Roadside Relics, and he came over and played for me in Europe. We did a lot of acoustic shows together, and he knows my voice, and he knows how to push to say, "No, you can stretch beyond that." So that's kind of where it started, was last fall, me starting to go, "Okay, you in? So they all were able to jump on it. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, tell you what, we have a little rule here. You can't talk about a song without us hearing it.
Okay.
So we have queued up for you Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
Yeah.
And why don't you give us a little intro to the song while I get her queued up?
Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I wrote back in 2010, of all things, and I had a young lady who's an amazing Christian artist by the name of Tori Harris, was living at my house at the time, and she came to me one morning and said, Miss Allison, I have this idea. And her dad actually had worked on sailboats and had sailboats and stuff like that. Well, my husband was a search and rescue pilot in the Navy. And so when she came to me and she was going, Mayday, Mayday, da-da-da-da, and I went, you have to say it 3 times. I said, because that's in real world situations, you always say Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
Yeah.
So I said, but sing the 3 Maydays. And I went, I'm going down. And so we ended up writing this song. And it wouldn't leave me alone. I did an acoustic demo of it and just kind of figured, okay, that's good enough because it doesn't really fit what anybody's doing anywhere.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't leave me alone. So then I went back in and did this full orchestrated demo with the, timpanis and strings and everything. And it's lived on my computer for, 15 years until last fall. It was like, oh no, this has got to have something done with it.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Outstanding. So this is Mayday, Mayday, Mayday off your new album.
Yes.
How you look at things?
Yeah, and I just want to say that Will Lee is tuned in, and he says, "Good morning, KCHW. Nice shirts." And then our co-host for tomorrow, Rashad, or Riohad, right? Is how you say her name. Paula. Yeah, we call her Paula, but says morning. So morning. I'm glad Paula's tuning in to hear your music.
Yay!
So, yeah.
All right. Good morning, everybody. All right.
Good morning.
So here we have Mayday, Mayday, Mayday by Allison Joy Williams.
The waves are rolling higher, blending with the sky. Disaster in different shades of gray is all that meets the eye. And no one can hear me, but still I have to try. The wind is getting stronger, tearing up the sails, sending up a warning flare, praying it doesn't fail. And every shudder tells me one more wave could tip the scale. I'm going down. Don't want to drown.
Wow. That was great. That was a powerful. Sorry. Sorry. I usually don't use the CD player. That's for the nighttime DJs.
Yeah.
CD what?
Right?
My
What's a
guys were
CD?
all busy.
I know, right? Wow, that was phenomenal. That was a powerful song.
Yeah, it's got a lot of oomph to it.
The
Well, I
voice
noticed
on
like
you.
on your
Thank
koozie
you.
on your koozie you
Thank
gave
you.
us, it's I'm on the edge of the blues. So that's what I've noticed about that track. That it's kind of
It's very blues rock. It's very
mixed
that
genre.
Bonamassa, Samantha Fish kind of, which
Mhm.
I think was why my manager liked it so much, because I was kind of going, "Are you sure?" And she was going, "No, this is an amazing song." And I went, "All right."
Well, my bandmate Wooly said, "Great song, huge voice, and
Yeah.
great writing."
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, the composition of that it was incredible. How many pieces were the band in that one?
For this, it's just let me see. So would have been William Ellis on drums, who had played for. I'm going to start name dropping here because I'm just so proud of all these guys. And I've worked with William for years. I started out, met him through another friend of mine who was a great writer, and she introduced me to this group of guys that would do demos and everything. So when I got to Nashville and started writing and recording, and so William Ellis was on drums, and he has played for and still plays for Montgomery Gentry whenever they go out.
Wow.
And then originally Bob Hatter played guitar on the original version of it. Bob unfortunately passed away, and so when we went to change it up and stretch out the lead guitar center part and everything, Pat Lassiter said, "I know a guy." And Pat was my co-producer on the album, and he brought in Mike Durham, who, again, like I said, played for Dave Matthews and had played on, I think 3 of Tim McGraw's Grammy Award-winning albums. And I was kind of going,
Wow.
"You can get him?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, he comes in here." And I went, "Okay, great.
Yes, please.
Yes, please." Right? Rocco Fredrickson, who toured with, played for Keith Anderson, and then went out on tour with Paul Thorne. So
Paul Thorne has been one that I've just kind of grabbed onto. I heard a song of his, and I was like, immediately followed it because of his voice, and then
cool.
some of the stuff, and just his demeanor and stuff,
Yeah.
and the stuff he talks about.
Nice
it's really,
guy.
I've quoted him on a few different things.
Yeah, great Americana.
Yeah,
and very much with that blues bass,
very
feel in there.
blues structure, or like foundation
Right.
blues. Yeah,
Right. And then keyboard, had 2 keyboard players on this. Gene Rabbi played keys, the straight up piano parts on it, and then Eric Robert, who has played for Christone Kingfisher, and plays for Bernard Allison right now and everything. Again, Pat said, I needed somebody to come in here and do B3 on this that is a killer blues guy. And he goes, I know this guy. He said, I've had him come in and do a few things.
kind of a special niche. Yeah,
Right. And he said he's actually up from the Seattle area, but he lives in Nashville now and everything. And he goes, his name's Eric Robert. And I went and looked him up, and I went, you can get him. And he goes, oh yeah, it'll be fine. And it's like, okay.
Awesome.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was, so that was how that got done.
And I think you talked a little bit about sort of a Fleetwood Mac type vibe, and I totally got that from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go back to the original, like it had these big timpani runs on it to really, because I kept hearing, because of the song and what it is, it's like, no, we've got to have the waves crashing. We've got to have that thunder in there and everything. And so that's where William came in on. It's actually the original version. The straight drum part is straight drums, and then the timpani part is all MIDI, whatever, put in, you know, electronic stuff. But that William played, but then got the sound however they do that. And then a lot of strings and
Yeah.
everything. So it totally was that way. And now listening to the two of them, it's an interesting combination of them.
I kind of want to hear both versions now.
Well, and Will went on and said the production was great.
It really was.
Thanks.
And Paula said,
I mean-
yeah, great recording, great song.
Thank you.
I mean, I could hear that alongside in anything, like you said, Fleetwood Mac or any of those great.
Well, what
classic
I'm
rock
going to do is
musicians.
I'm going to make sure Chuck and myself tell my dad, who does our Wednesday Night Blues show, to get you in his show.
Well,
yeah.
I
love that.
I was telling Allison, I had her CD out here, and your dad did the show, and her
Maybe.
CD was out of the case after he did his show. So I'm pretty sure.
So it's
It
already
might have-
happened.
It
see?
might have already gotten some play. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I do want to get like that song. We're gonna hear a couple more later, and I
Yeah.
have listened to the entire album. And I think I want to get a few of them in our playlist and our rotation.
That'd be great.
And maybe
Thank
even
you
get
so
you
much.
if you got a few minutes after we're done to record
Sure.
a little intros to a couple of your songs for us, and
Absolutely.
we'll get those
Yeah.
out.
Be
I love,
happy to do that.
I love getting the people that have got on the show when we play their music. I like to get a little personal intro and let people know
A
that.
little bumper.
Yeah, yeah.
I did a bumper. I started because when I did the Love All of Me album and everything, and I had a bunch of radio shows that over in Europe and everything that had picked up songs, and so I even sat there and taught myself how to say the bumper reading for this Norwegian radio station in Norwegian, and sent it to him. And the guy comes back and he goes, "Nice job. Could you please do it in English?" Thanks for the try. I said, I must have missed something.
Yeah.
Wow. Google Translate just didn't quite get it, I guess.
Yeah, they could tell you weren't from there.
Yeah.
Do you still remember it?
No.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, I was telling you, I'd listened to the whole album, and it was one of those where I put it on. I had some other work to do. We get musicians send us music. A lot of times I'll listen to one or two songs. Oh, okay, that was nice. And yours, I put it on, and I sat down and started working, and I just started grooving along to it, and it was. This is weird, but I felt really productive the whole time. I got a
Well,
lot
that's good.
done. And yeah, I was bopping along the whole time. I think I even got up once and turned it up.
Wow,
because I was really grooving along to it. And the whole album was great.
That's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
When we're doing producing something like this, that people can connect to the song.
Yeah.
In every song that I write, there's always a little bit of truth. There's probably about 3 songs in there I could say are pretty autobiographical. But all of them, when you're writing, they don't all come from me. I'm kind of like, a comedian will take from not just personal experience, but what they see in the world. I think a songwriter does that too. And you can watch, whether it's somebody imploding in a relationship or just, I Ain't Easy to Love came from sitting listening to a couple of my single girlfriends one day getting a pedicure, and I'm just kind of writing things down, going, I can't really believe they're saying that, but I'll go with it,
Thank you for the material.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, in that, it's like when I read back or play an old song that I wrote, like I was doing some real old ones this morning, and I'm like, it's bringing me right back to that time when I was in that class where I was learning about that thing, and that's why I wrote about it, and it was just interesting to kind of, and I think it's important for writers to get their thoughts on paper, and if you're a musician, put it into a song, but not, leaving, it's like if you're painting something, you leave a little of it out so that the person who's interpreting it can kind of fill in the blanks.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's, and get the synapses firing a little bit in the heads of your listener.
That's just even like Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. At first you're thinking that it's all, and then that bridge comes in and you kind of go, oh, there's more to this than just a stormy night kind of picture, but everybody can bring, and that way it doesn't necessarily have to be just about a couple.
Right. Well, and it could be interpreted from a lot of different ways.
Exactly.
That's subjective.
Yeah.
Depending on the listener. So
right.
Yeah.
And that's what you can hope for.
Yeah.
If it's always just one person that can relate to that song, well, or that one, those people that experience that. But if it's more, if you can get it from a bunch of different views, that's what you can hope for.
Yeah,
too.
using ambiguity, using vagueness to kind of make it to where it can be digested by different walks of life, right? I mean,
Right.
It's kind of
Well, then at the same time, if you put it all out there, there's nothing to suck them in.
Right.
You gotta
Yeah.
gotta leave a little bit there to get people. Oh, what's next? Yeah.
Well, I think too, we always talk about the songs that can be, if they can be done, just like I was saying, that no, this was a more rock song, and then it became a blues song, and I think you could even do it if you slowed it down. You could make it a really cool ballad. And anytime a song can have more than one life and more than one genre, that you've kind of hit that rainbow too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I can even see, some of the great music that's been out there has been covered, like you said, by country musicians, rock musicians, blues musicians, R&B, and there's and that's, I got that vibe from that.
You go down to Jamaica and like all of it's reggae.
Yeah,
every
right?
pop top 40 song is reggae.
Yeah,
it's like
I could totally see that song being done by a variety of being covered by a variety of different.
I actually
genres.
had a guy that heard it, and he went and just did a sample. He wanted to charge me a lot of money that I didn't have at the time, but he took a sample of that and did the whole put the doon 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 and turned it into a dance mix.
Wow.
Yeah,
right. Did a remix of it with like
did
a club
remix,
mix.
yeah, with a club mix and everything, and it would sound really cool being done that way.
Oh, it would.
So sometime, anybody out there, yeah.
Do we have any? Well, we got DJ Evergreen. Maybe he could do.
Yeah,
a remix?
maybe he could do a remix. Yeah, we got our local DJ.
Get him the original one with all of the really cool synths.
So
on
my
it.
dad actually piped in, so he's listening. He said, "Right, Craig, fill in the blanks." So Dirt Road Doug from our Wednesday night blues show is actually listening in. So
awesome.
So Doug, Dad, Dirt Road, or I call him Daddy Brat.
Daddy Brat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you see the CD that was Allison Joy Williams? Did you see that CD? If you're listening in, Dad, let me know.
And I do think I left it in the CD case once for him. So maybe he did know. Maybe he caught the cue and played it. So I'm pretty.
What's next on the queue?
Right? You want to listen to another one?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
listen to, especially, talking about, this is just straight up front porch blues. And I wrote it with Justin Priest, who is a local legend as far as I'm concerned. Amazing artist in his own right. And
He really is.
Great voice,
I met him years and years ago. And it was before I got really moved and settled here, and I met him, and I said, "Oh man, someday, when I get here, I'm pull together a band and everything." And then I ran into him last year at Wallace, and he kind of looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, you were supposed to call me when you pulled together a band." And I said, "It's not like you need me, Justin. You're doing everything on your own." But we did decide to get together and write, and we have plans. We just sent it. We're texting back and forth the other day, and he goes, "We need to write again. That was one of the easiest co-writes I've ever done." And I said, glad to be of service, So, but we got down to Nashville with it, and Goose Gossett heard it, and he goes, "Oh, this is so front porch blues." And he said, "We need a harmonica on it." And I said, "I happen to know a guy in Seattle." So this is where I ended up collaborating with Joel Astley on doing some harmonica playing on it. And
Nice.
so it was a great Northwest collaboration, but we got a little bit of resonator on there and the whole bit. So it's a fun song. And it's very autobiographical. It's my husband would go, "Yeah, that's her." That's her. It's called "You Like Me That Way."
All right, here we go.
I know you don't understand the way I think. That's okay, 'cause any given day I don't have a clue.
started it.
Wow, that voice, that is gorgeous. I was telling you during the break, I could hear that. I could hear that playing right alongside some smoky blues bar in the in the 50s in the deep south, or just this beautiful soulful voice.
Everybody keeps telling me I need to make a video like that. Just find a dark room and the long black dress and
some blue light behind you. And
right.
Yeah. That was gorgeous. So we're talking a little bit. I asked a question a little bit ago. When you're a youngster, how do you go from I can sing to what we just heard, which is this deep, refined, beautiful, mature voice? How does that develop over the years?
It's really a progression of life. Being able to start out singing and going, and then I've always, even before I put two and two together as far as songwriting, I was always writing a lot of poetry and short stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until really, I did the choir thing, did jazz choir and everything in high school and stuff, and then got married when I was 20. But was lucky enough to marry somebody that knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were best friends in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We knew each other well from high school and everything. And he loved my voice, and my husband loved to hear me sing. And we were actually stationed in Fallon, Nevada, where he was a helicopter pilot, search and rescue pilot. And he came home, and we had 2 kids by that time. And he said, "Hey, they got an open mic downtown. I'll watch the kids tonight. You go." Go sit in. So I started maybe twice a month going and sitting in with this band and everything and doing that. And then we moved to Guam and went over there, and I would sit in with some people every now and then, did dinner theater for charity events and stuff like that. It wasn't until we moved to Florida, we spent 7 years in the Pensacola area, that I really started getting out and singing and doing. And then I met a guy who I did my first EP with in Austin, but he was a flight student, but he had played South by Southwest and all of this stuff, and we got happenstance got together and we're talking, and he was just picking on his guitar, and I went, play that again. I think I have lyrics for that, because I had started writing lyrics and moved from poetry to actually verse, chorus, and had read a lot of books and studied and everything. Again, I can't play worth beans, but but I understand music because I spent 10 years playing a clarinet.
Right.
And that's how somebody asked me the other day, how do you hold a note out so long? And I said, I learned breath control at a very young age.
Right.
When you're playing a wind instrument, that carries over. So, and that's a lot of it. Learn how to breathe.
Well, and I think, since you have a reed in your mouth and you're feeling the pitches, right? So you're training your ear at a young age to hear the pitches.
Yeah.
And that's important too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not just what note you're going to hit. Before you hit it, you already know, like, that's my target.
Yeah. So I was really into I loved country music, but grew up on rock. So it was all of these combinations of different things. And the EP that I did was all over the place, from kind of blues to rock to country kind of thing, and under that Americana umbrella. And but we were living by that time. We were living in Hawaii, and I went to the Hawaii. At the time it was called the Kauai Songwriters Festival, and got there, and a couple of my songs kind of got some notice from some people and everything. It pushed, it pushed buttons in me to do more and want more.
Yeah.
And then went back the next year and had a little bit more to play, and it was interesting because the first year when I got in this mentoring session with a guy by the name of Charlie Feldman. Oops, probably shouldn't throw that one out there. But anyway, he was with BMI. He was with publishing out of BMI out of New York. And we were sitting there, and he had just fallen in love with a couple of the songs and loved my voice. And he goes, he said, "I'm really sorry I didn't meet you 10 years ago. If I had met you 10 years ago, I'd be picking up the phone and making appointments with every label out there that I could get you into." And he said, over 25, there's no way a female is going to get a record deal in the industry anymore.
Wow.
And I kind of sat there for a minute. And of course, there's this lady sitting across the way, because we were in a group of like 10 people in a mentoring session. And she goes, "Doesn't that just piss you off?" And I said, "Well, Charlie, you said 10 years ago, when I was 25, right?" And he was going, yeah. He said, "Definitely." He said, "But you're a great writer, so don't let that get in your way. You can't be an artist, but you can be a writer." And I went, I said, "I haven't seen 25 in 20 years, so I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this." And, then it was the next year that I met Stephen Melrose and Jason Bloom, who is an amazing writer. And but Stephen was an A&R guy for Island Def Jam. And he came walking past me one morning, and he said, "You see the fight in the bar last night?" I went, "No," and I was there till it closed, man. I didn't see any fight. He goes, "Well, we were back," and I said, "Oh yeah, all the mucky muck A&R record label people were in the back." And he said, "Yeah," he said, "We're sitting there, and all of a sudden we hear this voice." And he said, "Drinks were flying, the table got knocked over, 2 guys got knocked down, we're all running for the other room where there was an open mic going on." And he goes, and we get to the doorway, and we all go, "It's Allison." And I said, "Thanks, Stephen." And he goes, "Honey," he said, "you're a great writer for rock and country stuff." But what I had done was I had sung my song "Listen Up Close" because John Cruz could play a 12-bar blues, and that was he goes, "Man," he said, "write your country songs, write your rock and pop and everything, send it out to where it can be cut by somebody else." He said, "But at your heart, you're a blues singer, and you know that." And he said, "Keep all your blues stuff for you and go do an album." And it took me, every time I'd run into him, he'd hold out his hand going, "Where's my music?
Where's my music?" Right.
And he was a heavy metal A&R guy, but he told me, he said, "What I listen to in my car is blues."
Right.
And so finally, and actually it was my husband again who, kicked me out the door, because he said by that time we had moved from Hawaii, and he actually took a duty station in Memphis and lived in Memphis and came home on the weekends so that I could live in Nashville and immerse myself into the writing and everything. And he came home one day, and I was singing one of my blues songs, and he goes, "Why don't you go cut that song?" And I said, "Well, I'm putting the money into demos that we hope will get cut and maybe have some money coming back in." And he said, "If I'm going to listen to you sing, I might as well listen to stuff I like." And he goes, "Go do the album." And so that's where the whole Blonde Haired Blues album started. And that was what really put me on the path of becoming who I was supposed to be as an artist.
Well, and I think that's important for people to understand is that, artists by themselves, without that little bit of push and a support system behind them, really can't become, the fully bloomed flower, right? Like it's a bud that's just waiting to flower. But like without that, whether it's a fan comes up and just injects you with a bunch of like praise or whatever it is that just like elevates you enough to where then you can realize that, hey, wait, I am actually doing it.
Right.
And I think I felt that in my own, path.
Absolutely.
Without having that support system.
Because we, as artists, and I think even as, we're always second guessing ourselves. We listen. I mean, even now I can listen to this album, which I love, and it really is the best one I have ever done and worked on and everything. Right. And I even listen to it now going, man, why didn't I do that right there? And it's really easy to start self-critiquing and the other people coming up and how you look at things. I left it out of a set list one time, and this lady came up and she was upset
Oh,
that
wow.
that she didn't get to hear. She goes, I came here just to hear that song because it's the only place I can get it.
Yeah.
because it wasn't recorded yet.
Wow.
Right.
Well, and that imposter syndrome, it gets everybody. You hear the most famous musicians talk about, I don't know. It's just a thing that I think every artist, every performer, everybody has to deal with it. I run a radio station. I have no idea what I'm doing. Why am I here? I don't know. But, I think it gets to everybody, and it's not so much, that you don't think you can, but sometimes you need that outside perspective to say, no, this is amazing. You're there.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you never hear it yourself. And sometimes it takes other people to really get you to stop and maybe listen to it a little more objectively.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, stop the critique and go ahead and go back and doing what. And that's the thing is, when you go back to just doing what you feel,
Mm-hmm.
and I love being on stage, but I'm going to sing if it's in front of my kitchen sink.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, I might as well be out there,
Well, and
letting
I've
other people-
noticed myself being in points where it's like every new song I hear, I'm just like I'm not satisfied with it. Like even if it's like a new emerging artist, I'm just going like, and I think what that is that you have these songs that are stored in your genes or whatever it is in your head or in the ether or whatever, wherever they are, and you're just waiting for that moment to strike to where then you can be the conduit for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's a yearning for that because that it's there. It's just you're looking for those songs, and sometimes you're inspired by somebody else's song. I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just saying there's sometimes where it's like it doesn't matter what it is. You're like going, there's so much more, and where is it? And I'm looking for it. And then when you strike it, it's like an amazing epiphany.
Yeah. I think as a vocalist, I love the stuff that I write, and there's a lot of them that I just love digging into and singing and everything. But every now and then there's a song that you hear somebody else sing and everything, and you go, I have to do that.
Yes, right.
There's 2 songs in the last 2 years that when I heard their version of it and everything, and one of them I do at my live shows, and it's one of those that it took me a long time. I worked on that song for 6 months at home before I ever took it in front of my band to say, I want to do this song. And it's a song that was recorded and done by Eva Cassidy. And it's like, how the hell does anybody think they can sing behind that woman?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, unfortunately, she's gone. And, it's a shame for a song that beautiful not to be able to live.
Right.
And the writer quit singing it when he heard her version of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like really. Yeah.
Right. Just put it away and everything. And I was going, this is too beautiful of a song. And, I always try to say, hey, check out Eva Cassidy's version. If you like what I do with it, great. But go listen to this because it's just, and it's one of those songs that is so beautiful. It's one of those things that, man, wished I'd written that, but glad I didn't have to live through that to write it,
Right.
And the other one is a group called the Blues Beatles. And a shout out to Pig Out because they're going to be playing this year.
Nice.
But
I love the name.
They're a band out of Brazil, and they do all Beatles stuff. And they took a version of Yesterday and turned it into this 12-bar blues. And Justin Priest, bless his heart, shout out again to you, was the one who said, because I do Oh Darlin'.
Yeah.
I do kind of a bluesy version of Oh Darlin' in my live sets. And he said, oh, you should hear these guys Blues Beatles do Yesterday. And I went and pulled them up on YouTube, and I went, oh, we are so doing that song, that way. And
I ran into, I believe he was a Brazilian opera singer in Alaska, and he did an opera version of Yesterday that just blew everybody away. It was unreal. I'd never heard anything like that. And it was a cappella. It was just his voice and like this deep operatic, over the top, over dramatic. And it was like everybody was just stunned at the end, like, oh my, did he really just do that? And it was incredible. Like, he had music under the rest of his stuff, and he was doing opera in a bar. Of all places, it was this like it was an EDM club. It was this weird scenario where it's like this club that just like the music stopped and this guy got up on stage and started singing opera, and there was a DJ behind him behind his opera music. It was phenomenal. It was incredible.
Excellent. What an experience!
And then the music stopped, and he did this solo a cappella opera version of "Yesterday." That was unreal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes it's those a cappella things that can get people, or it, and in kind, not really a comparison, because it was a local county fair, and I had done we had just moved to Florida, and I had done a couple of pick and sings that they had at the local community places and stuff, and so I got asked if I wanted to perform at the little Santa Rosa County Fair, and I mean literally the stage was over next to the barn where the goats and the chickens and everything were, and they were going to book me later in the evening, but my daughter had a horse show that I had to get on the road for, so I said no, I'll take the 4 o'clock slot. And they went, nobody's going to be there, and I went, I don't care, there'll be one person, this me and the sound man,
Yeah, right.
And that was back, I didn't have a band, I had tape music. I had a the karaoke, it was before CD, well, right around the time of CDs coming out and everything, but it was, I could give him a cassette tape of all my songs
Your
and
backtracks,
everything,
yeah.
right? And so Larry had never worked with me before, and he said, well, you want to do I've never worked with you, I don't know where you are vocally, so why don't we do one of your songs? And I said, no, because I only have enough to do the hour. I said, so I can't use any of those. And he goes, well, sing something. So I started singing Wayfaring Stranger a cappella.
Oh, yeah.
And and we had nobody. And by the time I got done, I had probably 75% of the seating filled. And even some of the Carney people came over and stuff.
Wow.
And it was so funny because Larry came over. He had one little speaker that he could talk directly from the sound booth onto the stage without anybody else hearing. He said, "Where have you been?" And I went, "Guam."
Guam, yeah.
And he goes, "Well, welcome home." He said, he goes, "Come talk to me after the show." I went, "All right."
Nice.
And he got me on a lot of stages after that over the next 7 years.
Well, it's interesting you said Guam because do you know Jody Piper? Have you met Jody from Spokane?
No.
So he lived in Guam for like 20 years and played in bands there. So it would be so fun. I mean, it's a small island. I know that.
Yeah.
Who knows? You might
I
have
was
actually
there in
played.
the 80s, so
yeah, he was too. Yeah.
Wow.
Or he was in I think it was the later 80s, but
yeah, I was there from 85 to 88.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Love to meet him.
He's in a band called Piper's Rush. They're a Rush tribute band.
Okay.
And he sings and plays bass, but he also performs as a solo acoustic.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him.
Yeah.
And they're going to be up here performing for Fall Fest.
Yeah.
At the end of September.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I talked to you about that yet.
We've kind of talked about it. Yeah.
But yeah, let's get you on the schedule.
Okay.
And talk about it after the show here. And
Sure.
and get you performing up here in Chihuahua.
I'd love that.
Really looking forward to it.
I did want to mention that my dad responded he needs a copy for Dirt Road Blues.
Well, Craig,
he needs a copy.
I have the one.
Plenty with me.
Okay.
I'd be happy to.
Okay,
I'll leave some.
Yeah, that would be great for him.
I'll leave him a koozie too.
Yeah, he'll use it.
I was going to say I'll leave you this copy here, Craig, that you can use, but leave it here. Don't take it with you.
I have a gentleman over in Italy that it's been 5 years since we left Italy, and every morning on Facebook Messenger I get a good morning and a good night, and he's an older gentleman that had an antique store that did some work on some furniture that I'd bought over there.
Yeah.
And he was listening to music while they were loading up the furniture that he was going to work on. And so I said, "Oh, you like music?" So I gave him a couple of my CDs, Another 1,000 Miles and everything. And when they brought the furniture back, his sons, who spoke English, told me, they said, "Yes, our mother likes your music too, but she never gets to hear it." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Our dad keeps it in his car so he can listen to it going back and forth. So the only time my mom listens, so I had to give them more CDs so their mother could listen to it at home." So yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm happy to share. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, great.
Well, we're about out of time for today, so why don't you go ahead and tell us about what you got coming up I know I pulled up an image. There's an event coming up soon.
We're playing at Bolo's
Mm-hmm.
over in Spokane Valley, starting at 6:30 on May 14th. And that'll be me with the full band coming out. And the first full half of the show, we're playing from 6:30 to about 9:30-ish. The whole first set will be everything off of the CD. So it's kind of a CD release party. And I'm going to have a couple of bags to give away that'll have some merch and a free CD in it and everything.
Oh, so cool.
And I know Mel Dalton, one of the co-writers, is going to come and play a couple of her songs during the break. Justin, if he doesn't have anything else going on, may show up. And then Steve Baker, who used to be one of my lead guitarists, but also has a song on the album, is going to come and do a couple songs during the break and stuff. So
Great.
love
Nice.
to always lift my co-writers up and do as much
Absolutely.
as I can that way too. So, but it's going to be a fun show. And
Yeah.
then we got lots of, go to AllisonJoyWilliams.com to my calendar page. I've got a lot of stuff coming up this summer. July on through August is going to be smoking.
Yeah.
Gonna be very, very busy.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, I'm going to do my little goodbye spiel here,
Okay.
and then we're going to lead out. We're going to close things out with one of your songs.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and thank you so much for coming. This has been great. And the song we're going to leave with is Live with the Storm.
Wrote that with Mel Dalton, and a great Americana artist from around here, and go check her out. But yeah, it's a cool song.
And what was her name again?
Mel Dalton.
Mel Dalton. That
Yeah.
name sounds familiar.
You can find her on Facebook and everything, but yeah, she's out playing all around. I know she's playing Pig Out, so am I. That's
Yeah.
going to be a fun one. I'm on the main stage at Pig Out this year. On the 28th, it's going to be me and Sammy Eubanks and Too Slim
Ooh.
and the Tail Draggers, so that'll be an awesome show.
Yeah, great.
So,
That's going to be a great
excited.
show. And the 28th of
August.
August. Okay.
Yeah, during Pig
That's-
Out.
That's my birthday.
Yay.
Ooh.
Come have
Mine's
a
the
party.
29th.
What? Is it really?
Yeah.
No, we almost have the same birthday. See,
I know.
we're wearing the same shirt today. We almost
We're
have the same
twinning.
birthday.
I think there is a party happening at the Lilac main stage at Pig Out this year.
Just for our birthday?
Yeah, I'll sing happy birthday to you. You guys show up, I will sing.
Well, Doug McQuain, my dad, says thanks, and Corey Hildreth, my fiance, says thank you for what you're doing. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got some great fans.
Yeah, we do.
All right, so you can tune in right here tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. for Out of the Woods. 8 to 9 p.m. is Kilt and a Twist. And then from 9 to 11, we have a great show. Acoustic Cafe is going to be playing. You can tune in right here tomorrow morning. We're going to have Matthew Tippich with us on the morning show tomorrow morning.
He's going to do some live performing
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this has been Allison Joy Williams with us today. We want to thank you guys so much for listening. And we're gonna leave here.
Come down to Chewelah and
Yeah.
enjoy Art Walk this evening.
That's right.
It starts at 5, is that right? Or
Yeah, 5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 8 p.m., yeah.
All the different places around town are going to have art displayed. We've got Lefty. Say his last
Lefty
name.
Fields.
Lefty Fields. I was going to say that. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I just call him Lefty. We're going to have Lefty Fields out busking out in the street. Craig and the Brats are going to be playing with Matthew Tippich at Fired Up Pizza. We got lots of great stuff coming up tonight. Lots of great art displayed. Come out. It's going to be a great evening. Join us tomorrow morning on the KCHW radio show right here on KCHW 102.7, your Northern Lights Public Radio. Of course, I didn't have it queued up, right? Here we go. Tell us the name of the song here real quick.
Live with the Storm.
There we go.
There's a hard wind blowing up the valley. The clouds are falling to the ground. Everyone is running from the weather bound to come. But I'm standing here till the worst is done. If it's gonna pour, and there's nothing I can do to ever make that change. If it's gonna pour, let it calm down hard. When the thunder rolls, let it be real loud. Let the lightning, Lord, be blinded. I'm not afraid of the cold and the rain. I live with the storm every day. And the wind will always get your way, but I am the mountain who will always and the wind will always get your way, but I am the mountain who will always remain. If it's gonna pour, let it calm down hard. When the thunder rolls, let it be real loud. Let the lightning, Lord, be blinded. I'm not afraid of the cold and the rain. I live with the
Grrr. 102.7 FM, KCHW.